great players, they have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, baby.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every time I post a video just like this one. Without further ado, let's jump right into the topic of this video. The NFL draft is right around the corner and the speculation has been very high throughout the last several weeks and throughout several different NFL franchises who need a quarterback. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the quarterback position, because it's just a huge need. And the Raiders are one of these teams that are very likely going to target a quarterback this year in the draft, very likely in the first 2 rounds. And really, there are just so many different things we could do come draft night at this spot. Also, there are certain players who have been getting hyped up and shooting up draft boards. And one particular player I wanted to talk about was Michigan's JJ McCarthy, who, previously, a couple months ago, early in the offseason, he was previously seen as like a second round to late first round quarterback prospect. But as of late, the hype has been growing for JJ McCarthy ever since the scouting combine, where he did look very sharp and impressive in his drills. And he also impressed in his college pro day. And instead of being projected to be a potential second round or a late first round guy, he is now seen to be a lock to be a first round pick, and quite possibly be a top 3 pick according to multiple different NFL insiders. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported that he expects the Washington Commanders to select JJ with the 2nd overall pick, just based on conversations he had with different NFL executives who claim to know Adam Peters, general manager of the Washington Commanders, very well. Not only that, our current head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Antonio Pierce, spoke very highly of JJ McCarthy.
I think it's a very talented group. We interviewed most of those guys at the Combine, had great conversations with them. JJ McCarthy, you're talking about a national champion, a winner. So I don't know how he's not in the top 3, if you want to be honest.
You also got Jim Harbaugh, who came out and said he thinks JJ McCarthy is the best quarterback of this year's NFL draft. Now, to be fair, we definitely got to take that with a grain of salt. He was his former coach back in Michigan, so I definitely expected him to speak very highly of him. But still, it's kind of a bold statement to say that he's the best quarterback in this year's draft when you got the talents of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. But just in general, the hype has been going through the roof for a guy like JJ McCarthy. You got multiple different people speaking very highly of him. And, just in general, I just want to talk about, is the hype real on this guy? Or is this a bunch of smoke and mirrors from NFL executives and the NFL media? That's definitely tough to decipher, because, some GMs are going to leak out certain things strategically to try to get other NFL franchises to think they're going to go this way, when in reality they're going a different way. And when it comes to the Raiders, if the hype and the excitement from a guy like Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco for JJ McCarthy is legitimate, could this mean that they could be in play for him come draft night in the first round? And one thing I did want to mention is a perfect scenario for the Raiders could also be the fact that if the draft board falls this way come draft night, if Caleb Williams goes number 1 to Chicago, and if what Tom Pelissero reported is accurate, and if the Washington Commanders select JJ McCarthy with the 2nd overall pick, after that, let's go to New England. I see a strong chance of New England selecting Drake May over Jaden Daniels. And in that scenario, that would really be the most optimistic scenario for us if you want Jaden Daniels to be the next quarterback of the Silver and Black. This would leave the Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels available at pick number 4. And this would really be a perfect opportunity for the Raiders to try to trade up for him if they truly want Jaden Daniels. Now, we've all known that the hype between Daniels and the Raiders, they've been linked just due to the fact of the relationship that he has with Antonio Pierce. It seems like a possible perfect scenario for us, but there's no doubt with us selecting at 13 and with him being such a highly touted prospect, it's made it very difficult for us. But in this scenario, the Arizona Cardinals are very likely not taking a quarterback at number 4, but they have been mocked by many different draft experts of selecting wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who is by most people highly regarded as the best wide receiver in this draft. It seems like they want to add another weapon to help their quarterback Kyler Murray. So in this scenario, if we're going to try to trade to that number 4 spot, with us selecting at 13, I mean, there could be a possibility that the Cardinals end up missing out on one of these top wide receivers, whether it be Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, Romeo Odunze. So it may be a scenario where Arizona, that's too big of a risk for them to take. So, I mean, one thing I was thinking of is if we ended up doing this trade with Arizona at 4, would we be required to give up Davante Adams? You know, it's definitely an interesting conversation, because if you include Davante Adams in that trade deal, I think the package becomes a lot more attractive for Arizona. But at the same time, I mean, it's difficult because to me, Davante Adams is the second best wide receiver in the NFL. And if you're going to go after a Jayden Daniels, I mean, ideally you would love to have him paired up with a star wide receiver like Davante Adams. Just having the services of an all-pro like that can just help make the life of a rookie quarterback that much easier. But there's no doubt that the need of wide receiver for Arizona definitely makes it a little bit complicated. Would they be willing to go back 9 spots? Or I don't know, maybe if the Raiders could find some way to get a 3-team trade involved where they don't have to fall back that far, you know, but that's, you know, getting real complicated. But regardless, it would still take a lot of draft capital to trade up for Jayden Daniels if he fell to the number 4 overall pick. But as I mentioned, I think this could be the only realistic option for us to see Jayden Daniels in the silver and black, especially if the hype on JJ McCarthy is real and he does indeed get selected in the top 3. But also, I mean, as I mentioned, if AP really likes JJ McCarthy and Tom Telesco really likes him as well as a prospect, do we try to trade up for him if he begins to fall? If he's available at number 6, 7, I mean, do we try to move up in that scenario as well? You know, that's definitely something interesting to consider. Personally, I do like JJ McCarthy as a prospect, but I liked him a lot more, you know, a month, 2 months before, because at that time I kind of felt like he was a little bit slept on. He was a little bit underrated. It seemed like you could have very likely got him at 13 or even quite possibly like traded up for him in the late 1st round. But as I mentioned, the hype seems to be going through the roof for a guy like him. It doesn't seem like he will even be available at pick number 13. And another quarterback whose draft stock has continued to fall has been Michael Penix Jr., which I understand the injury history concern, but at the same time, I mean, I've seen some mock drafts where he falls all the way to the 2nd round. And in my opinion, I mean, if you could get Michael Penix Jr. in the 2nd round at pick number 44, that would be an absolute steal. I understand the injury history, but at the end of the day, with how important that quarterback position is, and if you can get a guy for a 2nd rounder with that much arm talent and with the upside that he has, yo, that is a steal in my opinion. Even if we selected him at the 13th overall pick, I still don't see it being a huge risk because you don't have to give up any draft capital. Yes, he has had multiple season-ending injuries in the past, but he's been healthy the last 2 seasons. And at the end of the day, I mean, the Raiders essentially have like a mid-round pick. So in my book, with how valuable the quarterback position is and just how much hitting on that position can change your franchise for the next 4 to 5 years, to me, giving up a mid-round pick for a guy that talented, even with some injury history, would be a gamble I would be completely okay taking, in my opinion. But Raider Nation, those are just my thoughts and opinions on the current state of the quarterback situation when it comes to draft time. We're about a month away from the NFL draft, so I expect a lot more rumors and reports coming out about us potentially selecting a quarterback here in the next couple weeks. But Raider Nation, I definitely wanted to get your guys' feedback in the comment section down below. Do you guys think JJ McCarthy will go in the top 3? Do you think Antonio Pierce really likes him that much as a prospect? Let me know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that's all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.